Alright, round number 3, last and final one. Let's do this one more time. We are talking Bellator MMA. They have been given their own round. Normally I try to condense everything together, but due to the fact these are 2 events back to back from Hawaii with major stipulations, major implications, with titles on the line, I feel they deserve to have their own round. So we're going to kick things off with the first Hawaiian card that is taking place on Friday, December the 14th, live and only on the Paramount Network. This event is headlined by Brent Primus taking on a former lightweight champion of the world, Michael Chandler. This is the second fight that they are having. The first one took place in Madison Square Garden, where Michael Chandler lost the championship belt to Brent Primus in a very awkward situation. Michael Chandler was on the stool after having his leg severely damaged in the fight. The referee, very awkward what had occurred, right? He was struggling to stand, which is normal when you take too many leg kicks, but as the referee was like, you gotta get up from the stool, he got up to show he was able to stand. When he went to sit back down, someone moved the stool from behind them, which caused Michael Chandler to fall, and the referee took it upon himself to wave the fight off, making Brent Primus the lightweight champion of the world due to the fact that the referee was like, oh, he can't stand, he can't fight, but the stool was moved. Look, we're moving on. This is the Hawaiian card. This card, first off the bat, you got AJ McKee. This guy is a fun fighter. He's 12-0. He has been knocking out opponents. He's been taking guys down. This is a Bellator native. This is a Bellator homegrown fighter, and this is a guy that is fun to watch. I'm honestly saying he's a fun guy to watch. He is the guy who will probably take Bellator to the next level when all the champions are gone, and when he does get his opportunity, he's a guy to watch, and he's a guy to consider as your next champion. It also features Derek Campos, a fun fighter, a killer at that, taking on a former UFC fighter himself, Sam Cecilia, who is currently 1-1 since coming to Bellator. He won his first matchup and then lost his second one. Derek Campos, another one of the guys who has been in Bellator for quite some time. He's good, but he's never reached the championship level yet. On your co-main event, we've got Frank Mir taking on Javi Alia. Frank Mir, 18-12, taking on 10-7. Mir is on a 4-fight losing streak, I think. 4 or 5 fights losing streak. He lost in the UFC, came over to Bellator, lost to Fedor. He's yet to get his groove, but he's taking on the 10-7 Javi Alia, who's also on a losing streak. It's a weird co-main event, to be quite honest. I'm not even sure if this will be your main event. I'm hoping that there's something better than it, but this is your co-main event. Frank Mir's winning this fight. I don't know what more to say to this. This Javi guy, I've seen a couple of clips of his fight. He's not at the level of Frank Mir. Simply put, if Frank Mir loses this fight, he should probably consider retiring. There's no reason as to why you're going to lose to this guy. You've been in this business for as long as you have. You're overall a more well-rounded fighter. You've got that incredible BJJ. He is the only man to ever, at that point, submit Nogueira. He submitted Nogueira twice. One time breaking his arm the second time around, and the first time he completely submitted him. First time he broke his arm, the second time he tapped out due to the fact he didn't want to get his arm broken. So Frank Mir is a legit grappler. He submitted the likes of a Brock Lesnar. He submitted the likes of many Tim Sylvia to capture the heavyweight championship belt. He is no slouch on the ground. This Javi Alia, if he gets taken to the ground, he's done for. He's submitted. Frank's also got those heavy hands. He's got the weak chin, though. Javi at 10-7, and a lot of his fights have been finished. He's been finished. I don't see him beating a Frank Mir. I don't see him beating a legendary guy like this who's got more in the tank to show. And your main event against Brent Primus taking on Michael Chandler. Brent Primus is 8-0. Michael Chandler, 18-4. Been in this game for quite some time, Mike Chandler. Outside of the Eddie Alvarez fight that he lost, the Brent Primus fight that he lost, and the Will Brooks fight that he lost, and I don't remember what the fourth loss that he suffered was, he's never really looked bad. And the Will Brooks one, his loss, very weird. Another one of those things where he did this weird shit and the fight was waved off. The Brent Primus one, like I said, there was a stool gate. The Eddie Alvarez one, it was a split decision loss, which could have gone either way. So Michael Chandler is one of those guys who is always game to fight, and he's always very dangerous opponent to be up against. He's taking on Brent Primus. This is the fight that we've been waiting for almost a year for him to get finally his rematch for the championship belt. Brent Primus is a power puncher, no slouch in the stand-up department. Michael Chandler is the wrestler of wrestlers who has the power in his hands also. the fight is going to be a matter of where does it take place, who is better at what, who decides to implement their game plan better. The leg kicks are what pose the problem for Mike Chandler in the first fight. That is something that Brent Primus is going to have to stick with in the second fight if he wants to be successful. I think the leg kicks are going to be key against the likes of a wrestler in Michael Chandler. You want to keep him at distance. So now when he's suffering the pain from the leg, it's going to be harder for him to shoot for that takedown because he's going to be suffering from pain. It's going to be harder for him to throw those big power punches that he has, which is something that most wrestlers like to do. So it's going to be a fight where Brent Primus is going to have to play his game over Michael Chandler's power. Hawaii is going to see a new champion. Michael Chandler, his last fight looked phenomenal. He looked pumped. He looked like he is not taking this. He's done. He's done fucking around. He wants that belt back. He's done with all these dumb losses that he's suffered. He's here to prove once and for all he is the king of the division. He signed a new contract with Bellator and he's looking to prove he's here for a long time and he's going to be their champion for quite some time. The pick on this one is Michael Chandler over Brent Primus. Well, that was the Bellator for the troops. Bellator 213 is taking place on Saturday. It is headlined by the Women's Championship belt. It is headlined by the Women's Flyweight Championship belt. It will be Llima Lei Macfarlane, taking on Valerie Letourneau. Valerie Letourneau, we've seen her in the UFC. We see her take on Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the Women's Strawweight Championship of the World. She went 5 rounds with her. Looked pretty impressive. She's getting another crack at this time the 125-pound title, the same very title that Joanna fought for this past weekend. On this card, I'm not going to break down the entire card, I'm just going to name some fights. You got Lyoto Machida making his Bellator debut, his first fight since being cut by the UFC, taking on a dangerous fighter in the likes of Rafael Carvalho. This is not a fight to sleep on. This is a fight where one of these men are going to get finished. Where is Lyoto Machida at in his career at this point is the question. We know his chin is no longer there. We know he can't take a punch like he used to. We know his karate isn't as scary as it once was, where you were afraid of his explosiveness. Now you understand what he's going to do, and the game plan hasn't changed as much as it should have over the year. Rafael Carvalho is a 15-2 destroyer. This is your co-main event. He is a destroyer. I don't see how Lyoto could beat him. I don't think that karate, like in and out stabs and then is going to be good enough for Rafael. I just see Rafael getting the better of the exchanges, taking it to the ground, and finishing Lyoto Machida. My pick is Rafael Carvalho to win this fight. On this card, you've also got a light heavyweight battle. It is former light heavyweight champion of the world, Liam McGeary, taking on King Mo Lawal, the guy who is known to be fighting at almost any weight that you put him at. King Mo was one of the most hyped up fighters at one point. Suddenly started training with Floyd Mayweather, thought he could drop his hands and he had the best striking. Along the way, he suddenly forgot that he is an elite level grappler and started to stick with striking. Liam McGeary, his game, it's very strange how he is. He's got elite level jiu-jitsu, but always gets taken down in every fight. His stand-up is also pretty good. Much better than King Mo's, I'll say. I'm going to tell you right now, King Mo's way to win this fight is to take Liam McGeary down and to ride it out a decision. To stand up with Liam McGeary would be a mistake. To take Liam down and to try and attempt submissions might also be a mistake because Liam is very good, like I said, with the submissions. My pick is, and I'm telling you right now, if King Mo wants to win, I hope they were training the wrestling. The wrestling is a way to go against Liam McGeary. We know how he's not that good to stop takedowns. Hell, he was taken down by Tito Ortiz until he subbed him with a triangle choke, which is pretty impressive because Tito was winning that fight up until that point. And that was for a championship fight, the title. I feel in my heart of hearts that King Mo is going to come back and form. He needs to come back. He's been 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win. The same goes for Liam McGeary. This is a fight where both men need to prove something if they want to stay in Bellator and if they want to stay in contention for a future title shot. King Mo has always been on the cusp of getting a title fight, but he has never had that opportunity to fully grasp it and to fully have his attempt at a title. Liam McGeary has been champion, so it's former champ taking on a guy who wants that belt. I'm picking King Mo to win this, and I'm picking him to win this by decision. He's going to use his wrestling. To your main event, Valerie Letourneau taking on, I think Llima Lei Macfarlane is keeping her championship belt. She's going to defeat Valerie Letourneau. Valerie, she hasn't improved as much as she should have. I know she's changed camp. I believe she's training out of TriStar Gym right now. Macfarlane, undefeated. She's coming to Hawaii. She's coming to have some fun. She's coming to defend that championship belt. She's coming to defend that championship belt. She defended it in the last go-around. Valerie Letourneau, 2-fight win streak since coming to Bellator. Prior to that, was on a 3 or 4 fight losing streak in the UFC, came to Bellator, turned things around. So now here she is, she's getting that championship opportunity fight. I don't see how she's going to defeat her. Her wrestling is not on par. Her striking is okay, mediocre. Macfarlane, her striking is mediocre. Macfarlane, on the other hand, overall well-rounded, poses more threats to Valerie Letourneau. That's why I'm sticking with Macfarlane, defending her title, retaining it, and moving on to the next challenger. I'm not shitting on Valerie Letourneau. She's got a lot of problems that she can pose, but I just don't see how she's going to beat an elite level undefeated fighter and the likes of Macfarlane. With all of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it has been my pleasure to bring you this recap, the fight predictions, everything that I bring you over the weeks on 3 Rounds with Jay. I enjoy nothing more than to do this. Show some love, send this to your friends, let's make some money together. The point of this is to give you the right predictions, is to give you the most information I can in the time that I have. I hope you all enjoyed. If you do, send some love, leave some comments at the bottom, subscribe, like, let me know what you think, what's going on. Let's have a discussion. The links to all my social media accounts are also at the bottom, as you'll notice. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Show some love over there also. I'm always responding back to the fans. I'm always responding back to the people who have some questions. I love nothing more than to do that. I love nothing more than to get to know all of you. We're all fight fans, so let's all stick together. This sport is trying to grow, so let's get it to the next level that we can. Next week, like I said, 3 Rounds with Jay will take place from Punta Cana on a special edition where I will be breaking down, and it will be a special one. It won't be like what we've been having over the last couple of weeks, I can guarantee you that. With that said, there's also Jay at the Movies. That is every Friday. Don't forget to check that out. Keep in tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, it was my pleasure this week. Have yourselves a great Tuesday and a even better rest of the week. Enjoy the fights that are coming this Friday and Saturday. There's also a WWE event this Sunday. So it's a stacked card. It's a stacked event. It's a stacked weekend as always. With that being said, I will see you next Tuesday. I will see you this Friday with Jay at the Movies. As always, it has been my pleasure to bring this to you. I will see you around. Be safe, take care, and as always, this was another edition of 3 Rounds with Jay.